Hey guys, Adrenaline Junkie here. So today's a cool video we've been looking forward to making for a while. This is the 1,500 mile review video of this machine. We've got around 1,500 miles on it now. We've owned it for about a year. It's been 1,500 hard miles, so about 2,500 kilometers. And we haven't done anything to it besides routine fluid changes. We haven't had to change a ball joint, a wheel bearing. We haven't even done the brake pads on it. And the videos will speak for themselves as to how hard we've been using this machine. So by no means have we been babying it. So basically what we're telling you is this is what your $40,000 side-by-side is gonna look like a year after you own it. So walking around it, there's no serious damage. You can't really see anything too drastic on it. There's been no serious collisions or impacts or rollovers on this machine. Right away you'll see the typical damage. You'll see the cracked in fenders here. That's from pushing up against trees and flexing all that in. You got the scuffs on here. Mostly just blemishes. If you're gonna ride an off-road vehicle like it's meant to be used, you can't let things like this bother you. It's just character. You can still see tree sap on most of these. Yeah, as far as the body, it's held up really well. These are the Super ATV Nerf bars. They've been real well. They've done a good job protecting this area. They've got some rock chips on the powder coat there, but I mean, you can't prevent that. If you look at the front wheel here, in four-wheel drive, this wheel is launching all the dirt into that area there. So I mean, that's gonna get chipped no matter what. The powder coat's held up nice. You see the Rival skid plate under there? We'll get to that in a minute. But the Rival skid plate is taking a beating. I would say it's done quite well. It's showing some signs of abuse, but any part will show signs of abuse as you abuse it. So we're still rocking the stock Maxxis Bighorns. I'm a big fan of these tires. I'll be changing to a slightly more aggressive tire real soon. We're gonna go to an ITP Blackwater Evolution in a 30. But these tires have done well. We've been to West Virginia, the Hatfield and McCoy trails. We've been road riding a lot around here. We've gone up north. We've gone everywhere on these. And they've done really well. You can start seeing some signs of, they're well worn. There's a bit of cupping on them. They got a bit of like, well, you can see they're beat. But yeah, they've been great tires. The rims are missing most of their center caps, which I think, I don't think there's many stock rims around there that don't have missing center caps. But the paint and the finish on them's held up pretty good. If you come around to the front, I mean, there's some rock chips from following behind people. You know, scratches and scuffs from the branches. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but nothing too bad. The finish holds up really well. There's no fading. The plastic holds up nicely. The headlights work great still. I've driven this thing for a year with no bumpers. No bumpers for a year.
You even banged it into a tree.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I hit a tree sliding down a nice hill pretty hard.
It was a solid hit.
You can see the damage here.
It stopped you dead and messed up your...
You can see the stress fractures in the plastic here.
Yeah.
I nailed it right here. Luckily right behind there is the main frame rail. So all I did is I bent the outline for the return line from the intercooler. The intercooler sits in front of the rad in these machines. It's a liquid to air intercooler. And now I got a little bit of a drip coming out of there, but I'm going to address that in the next few videos when we do the build and we do the maintenance sequence of this machine. It's no serious damage. If you look up there, we also broke the headlight housing. It's all taped up with like red stickers. Had to make do. It leaks a little bit, but I've been pretty careful to not submerge it or anything. But that's all my fault. That's not Polaris issue there. The Pro Armor doors have been great. They rattle a little bit, but I mean, the Pro Armor doors have kind of always been known for that. We lost the rivet in the passenger side door here a while back, and then we lost another one. You can see, judging by the worn down paint and the lack of aluminum, James keeps dropping the camera or the mic. So yeah, this has kind of been rattling for a while. You can probably hear it in some of the videos. I'm going to address that.
The whole West Virginia video.
Well, it's a trademark. Okay?
Yeah, we were sticking hats and stuff in there to try to shut it up. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to fix that. But besides that, it's just scuffs. The powder coat on these doors has actually held up really well.
More than one time, we've like rubbed up against the tree, and
Oh,
the top
yeah.
of that gets like shoved.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that some of these
Like look at the scratches and the wear on this fender, James.
Yeah.
From like rubbing up against trees.
especially
and stuff.
the rears. I've seen the rear. I've
Oh, this
looked
one's
back
broken,
and
too.
seen the
Like,
rears
yeah, they just look
completely
at this.
compressed, like completely squish up
Get this.
into the wheel well.
Yeah, this is pretty flexy in there.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be.
I mean, it's pretty cold out now too.
it's amazing for the punishment that they take. how
Look
they
at all
hold
the
up.
abuse from the rock chips on the rear trailing arms here and the shock guards. The reason that is there is actually to protect that shock piston from getting hit by all that debris, because it would damage the piston and it would make the shock leak.
A lot of people have those covers now, like the socks.
Yeah,
Shock
some people
socks.
run those shocks, the shock socks or whatever they're called. I don't know. Look at the rear tires. We got tons of plugs in here. Look how worn down they are. They drift great. Another plug up here.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like what, an inch or two deep.
I don't know, not that.
An inch.
Yeah, this tire's taken some abuse in West Virginia. We got like 10 plugs in there, like 6 in this one, 3 or 4 in that one. So the wheel bearings, nothing's been changed yet. So we're gonna go through the process of all that. We got some really cool Super ATV goodies through Royal Distributing. They've hooked us up. Royal Distributing, in partnership with Super ATV, has sponsored quite a few parts for this build. We'll be getting a whole Super ATV full protection kit, which includes the front bumper. It includes tubes that go around the fenders like an exo cage to protect these. I mean, ours are a little scuffed up, but they're not broken yet. So we're gonna protect them from breaking using that Super ATV full protection kit. And it also ties right into the Nerf bars they're gonna send us. So we're gonna take these off and hand them down to another RZR owner. And then it also covers around here and ties into the back bumper. So this thing's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really well protected. We got the rear radius rods from Super ATV to put in there. If you guys think back to our previous videos, you would have remembered us bending and straightening out this arm using a tree stump. You can find that video on our channel. It's in the Trail Fix video series. So we got some nice new heavy duty rear radius rods from Super ATV that are gonna go on there. That should make them nice and strong and look a lot better. And they also improved the joint design here, which we'll explain in a later video. Hopefully in the next little while, we'll also be upgrading this restrictive stock exhaust system with an aftermarket setup that we'll be getting through Royal Distributing. So right now we've got stock front axles in the machine, and we've got some aftermarket rears in there because we broke a rear. Super ATV sent us 4 new Rhino 2.0 axles, so we'll have those to throw in. If you look inside, the cockpit of the RZR over the 1,500 miles has weathered really well. There's no damage. There's no issues. I mean, there's a few scratches and stuff.
Just scuffs from feet being
James,
there.
you remember this? If you look at here, it's bent. See that?
Oh yeah, the tree tried to come in.
Yeah, we got. If you look out this way, these are like the ducts on these Stealth Pro Armor Stealth doors. So you can see there's a bend there. Actually, a tree limb hit that, and that was strong enough to hold it actually, but it dented the whole thing. That might have been a reason we broke one of those rivets, actually, when you think about it. Yeah.
Because there's been a couple times the door's been abused.
Yeah.
In there.
And this is the passenger door, so I don't see it as well. That's
But
the side that always gets hit.
The seats look surprisingly good.
Yeah, the seats are great. They
But
don't
they
hold
don't
any
even look
water.
worn. They don't look worn at all.
No. You remember the old RZR seats would get mushy and wet,
Yeah.
like your ass would get soaked? So, we've got 2,440 kilometers on the odometer. That's right around 1,500 miles. This thing's been bulletproof. I haven't had a single issue with it. We got a rear view mirror in here. We got the Polaris Sport roof. That's weathered pretty well. Both corners are broken off. Those corners flare out. And as you rub up against the tree, all the weight of the vehicle hits the corner. And then next thing you know, it cracks off. I mean, there's no way of really avoiding that. Custom.
Custom.
we got this half windshield we've had on all season. It's hard coated. That's a part we got at Royal Distributing.
It's held up pretty well.
It's held up real well.
Looks good still.
I think one of the
buckles.
One of the buckles might be cracked somewhere, but I mean, considering what we've put it through, it's held up really well. We got a couple little dings in the rival aluminum skid plates on the A-arm guards.
Oh yeah, you do.
But unfortunately, we won't be able to run the A-arm guards anymore because once we upgrade the control arms to a Super ATV unit that we got, those won't be compatible because we'll be putting a set of Super ATV forward-facing, heavy-duty, high-clearance front A-arms on this machine. And we've also opted to get rid of the ball joints and go to a uniball and stud. So hopefully that'll make it even stronger. We've gotten a whole season out of these ball joints, the OEM ones, and I know there's a little bit of play in at least 2 of them, but they've held up pretty good. Stock tie rods still, they've held up pretty good. So we've also got a heavy-duty steering setup from Super ATV we'll be putting in here, and that will upgrade our front tie rods to a Heim joint. That'll make it even stronger, and hopefully this front end will be bulletproof. So we'll have those Super ATV Rhino 2.0 axles, the Super ATV heavy-duty A-arms, we'll have the Super ATV heavy-duty steering setup on there, and that front end will be way stronger than stock. Now remember, we also have a Dragonfire Racing front gusset kit on this machine, and that's something that's important to have, especially when you upgrade your front arms and all that stuff. What it does is it reinforces and strengthens all the suspension mounting points for the A-arms on the front of the vehicle, and that prevents any of those from ripping out if you hit something, especially with those heavy-duty arms. They're not going to break like the stock ones would. So the stock arms, stuff like that, they act as a kind of like a physical shear pin, whereas these aftermarket arms we're putting on, I mean, they're not going to break. They're probably going to break something else. I mean, they're going to be real strong, so you have to keep that in mind when you ride.
That's like our #1 thing we say to people when it's like, what do I do first on my machine?
Gusset plate. Always gusset plate in the front end. Even if you might jump it one day and just land a little nose heavy, and that's enough to damage some stuff in the front end. I mean, there's been times we've been out and we've smacked stuff and broken stuff, and we've looked at ourselves and said if we didn't have a gusset plate, like, there would be way more damage. All the guys swear by them that we ride with, because we've all pretty much learned the hard way what happens when you ignore stuff like that. If you go back here, we can look at the engine compartment in the box. There's some wear in the box. There's some scratches and some scuffing from our coolers and stuff like that, but you can't really avoid that. Engine, all that looks fresh. We've done routine fluid changes and routine filter changes on this machine. I'm pretty anal about that. I like to keep up on my maintenance. I ride it hard, but I maintain it well. The stock exhaust gets pretty hot. There's a catalytic converter hitting inside the muffler here, which generates a lot of heat, and that heat backs itself up into the engine, and it makes everything glow cherry orange, which looks really cool and is really bad.
It's amazing how it like doesn't go wrong though.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't gone wrong so
has
far.
Really done a good job improving their heat shielding over the last few years.
Because that thing in there is golden, like bright red. Yeah, like golden, but bright red. It's wild. It is so bright. I'm sure we can show you a clip or something of it.
I'm sure I'm forgetting a few little things, but basically what you're looking at is, the frog skins here. These I knew from day one that these are going to have a little bit of longevity issue. They're starting to peel off
still
here.
Good.
They're still good. The other side works, I think. There's like a few punctures here, but that's my fault from like bungee cording it when I'm putting the cooler in.
But they're replaceable.
But this one, this one's damaged. So I think you can get this adhesive online. So I'm gonna look into that because these things are amazing.
They are really impressive.
Oh man, in the snow, in the mud, in the rain, they do so well. 3 of these Bighorns don't really hold air. They're 6-ply, they're prone puncture tires, or I mean they're tires that are prone to puncture. They're great tires, I love them. But they're just, I mean, they got a year of like mixed use on them, and James, I think you can vouch and say that like by no means am I friendly to them on asphalt surfaces.
No, I mean, whenever we're out, you're spinning the tires and having some fun.
Like, there's multiple video clips where you're saying, like, yo, man, like, yo,
chill out. You're going to eat the tires up. In West Virginia, I thought we were going to run out.
Yeah, you thought we were going to run out of tires.
I literally thought we were going to run out.
What else is there to look at here? I mean, we did the 360. Everything's good. We'll show you a quick shot of it on the hoist. We'll show you some of the damage underneath it, some of the scuff marks, some of the the impacts that the skid plate has taken. We'll check out underneath the skid plate and show you all that so that you guys can get a good idea of what this machine's gonna look like a year after you own it. Look at it caved in the frame of the Razor in the back. That's from West Virginia when we bottomed out hard in the rear end.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you can still feel it, can't you? I'll wake up screaming about it. Yeah, it's taking a little bit here.
Yeah.
That's nothing important though. I mean, thinking about if I can weld stuff to it, I would, but it voids the warranty. Yep. Look under here, under the trailing arms. You can see another. I don't have any guards on there. It's just all the rocks always scrape up against that. Super ATV makes heavy-duty trailing arms for these too. Maybe I'll add those down the line when I destroy these. Right, so that's the rear section of the plate off. Now I'm going to do both the left and right midsections. One bolt broken off here, and one wasn't broken off in the back. So I'm going to have to extract those broken bolts and hopefully just put new bolts in, not have to clean up the holes too much. Oh yeah, that's the one.
There's your mess.
Forest debris. Okay, we got that skid portion off that we need to get off. Now we can lift the machine up and do a further inspection of the battle wounds. Look at that! Look at it all scraped off. That's from Gopher Dune sand. Everything that was touching was just getting sandblasted off. Because that hangs down the back because the bolt's broken on one side. Look at that. Gnarly. Look at that. Let's see how it looks on the inside. Oh, dude, it's got an imprint of like the shock damage.
Yeah.
Look at that. It cut right in.
It's like a punch.
Wow.
Put your gun there.
Damn. Whew. Uh-oh. Time to replace stuff. Oh! Oh! She's loosey-goosey. Look at this one. She's a loosey-goosey.
Yeah. So it's not supposed to do that?
Yeah, it's got a camber adjustment on the fly.
Got bearing flex.
Oh yeah. Oh, parts of belt. Still flying out of places. Parts of belts gone by. OEM Polaris.
Nice.
Fine specimen.
Very fine.
Boom.
Yeah, it's a nasty one.
But I got rubber spacers under there, and there's like a 1/2-inch air gap, so that's not actually damaging anything.
It's nice, nice shield.
Yeah, it's just, ooh.
Yeah, that's a nice one from that tree.
Or something, yeah. That must be from the
You
tree.
mushed the tree.
Must be. Look at these, I'm taking, oh.
Well, this one has. Look
Oh,
at
I know,
the
that's from
shape
West
of
Virginia. You
this
remember
one.
that hit?
Yeah, versus this one. And that one's probably a little bit.
Yeah, and this one here, I already bent it out. It was crammed in there.
Oh yeah, this
Straightened
one's
it
flat.
out a bit. I straightened it out already. You can see where I pressed in with like channel locks. It damaged it a bit. I can't believe these stock. I think this saved that A-arm. If that was no A-arm guard, it would have broken the stock A-arm.
Well, I'd be curious to see those A-arms when we pull them off.
Oh yeah, we'll be seeing them. Look at that. It just cut right in there. Look, it's all rubbed off there from Gopher
And you think
Dunes.
that might have just caught on instead of something else.
See this? They like bolt the frame together in sections, so if you smash the front of it, you can just replace that part. No excessive play in the shaft. The stock hanger bearing, actually, I don't know if it's messed completely, but I'm sure it's not happy. Looks pretty good under here. I don't see any like serious damage. That skid plate does a really good job protecting all the underbody here. The only serious like noticeable damage is right here. Yeah. But it's not really anything. I mean, that plate's there to absorb that exact impact. I mean, yeah, it tweaked a bit, but I don't think it impacts anything really. Yeah. And this lower radius rod, that's
that was even just low speed.
Yeah, but I mean that's just more facial blemish. I mean, it's not doing that much. That gets beat. I gotta get maybe some heavy duty trailing arms, high clearance, or at least some guards down the line. Pull out these axles, put in some new Rhino 2.0s, do the same thing in the front. It's gonna be sweet. So let's go around and check all the wheels and stuff. Oh yeah. There's a little bit of play in there. That's mostly wheel bearing. Yeah. Now the up and down, that might be a bit ball joint related. But it seems like mostly wheel bearing in this one. Let's see if the ball joints are moving there. I can't believe it, but the ball joints seem pretty decent still. Definitely a busted out wheel bearing though. That one's done. Let's check this side. Wow, this one, wow, feels pretty darn tight. I'm impressed. Oh, does this one have some? Yeah, this one's got some play in the.
Sounds a little rough.
Well, that's not too bad. Yeah, this one feels pretty good. The wheel bearing feels like it's got a bit of play. The bushings even still seem pretty decent. We'll check it better once the wheel's off. We can really reef on the A-arm and see how the bushings are. But it's pretty impressive for 1,500 miles. There's still some life in this side.
You've taken a beating too and done pretty well.
Oh yeah. The rear's, oh yeah. All that sliding around and those impacts, I mean, they take a toll. Once that wheel bearing starts to go, it just fails. And that's all wheel bearing. Oh, even worse. Oh yeah, this wheel bearing is shot. Well, you don't want to change things prematurely, right? Look at that bend from here.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty, especially when you compare it to the straight.
Yep. So yeah, let's pull off these wheels. Get your 19 mil. This needs pads too all around, I believe. Those brakes are nice and beefy. Look how thick the rotors are. Way bigger than the old previous 1000s and Razor 900 XPs. See all that wheel bearing play? Let's see if there's any. Tie rods still feel pretty tight. It's unbelievable how well this thing's holding together. It's gonna be even better soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Off the other side. This wheel bearing still feels good. Wow. Maybe it's just the brake that's sticking. Yeah, brake.
I heard it squeaking earlier. And you haven't done anything to this after West Virginia or anything?
Nothing.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's tight still. It's almost like a shame to be replacing stuff. Let's go ride. Everything feels nice. Hey, that's great. That's real great. So like you guys are seeing, year use, 1,500 miles of abuse, and this thing still feels quite fresh. I mean, we've developed some play in a few areas, but I mean, wear components are wear components, right? You're gonna have to maintenance them on anything. So we'll pull the rears off and see what they tell us. Passenger side rear. Oh yeah, that pad is gone. It's starting to eat into my rotor here.
Oh yeah.
There's no pad left. Ooh, the inside's even worse. Nice, they came pre-machined for me. They'll bite in real nice with the new pads.
Sure, they were nice and hot.
A few times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you've got some wheel bearing play in there. But everything else feels pretty darn good. There's also like no pad left on these. Look at all that wheel bearing play. No brake pad, but we got new pads. These are the calipers. If you look in the back here, these are the worn down ones, James.
Oh yeah.
Remember these? Maybe get a shot of that. So I guess the debris from inside the wheels has rubbed right through the casting. So I'm pretty sure the local Polaris dealership has a set of those in stock for me as a replacement. That definitely shouldn't be happening. None of the other guys have that. We all been through the same conditions.
I thought we saw somebody else who did, or we talked about it.
My old one had a touch of it,
yeah.
But nothing to this level. Like this is like shaved off. It's like you take a grinding wheel.
That bolt's almost exposed.
Yeah, this one on the bottom, look at it.
Yeah.
It's broken through.
Oh yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I can understand that the grit and the gravel that gets in there is pretty nasty sometimes, but.
So once again, I mean, for the mileage on it, it's in pretty good shape. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, there's no like glaring issues, just kind of the typical maintenance it seems like so far.
Bigger issues, or all the most serious ones we've identified are things we can we remember what happened, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still burned into our minds. Like you gotta hit it pretty hard to damage it.
You hit it pretty hard a couple times.
Yeah. They do, and then here you got the rear sway bar. And it's not even greasable anymore on these units. I guess it uses one of those hard plastic. Everything looks pretty good under here. This thing has heat cycled once or twice.
A few in the mud and water and wet and snow, and that's for sure.
Everything looks pretty healthy. I mean, I'm trying to find issues, but none of them. Most of them are just cosmetic. Like look at the rock rash here.
Yeah, I checked that out.
That's all just being sandblasted from the front wheels and four-wheel drive, launching gravel and stuff directly at that. That's what all that's from. And especially when other people are in front of you, they're tossing up all the gravel and your underbody's hitting it all. And it just blasts it off there. Doesn't matter if it's powder coated or not.
Oh yeah, like crazy.
This side seems a little better off than the other side.
Yeah, it does.
Beat more.
Surprisingly.
Probably because I see what's going on more on the driver's side. I think the passenger side takes a little bit more abuse because it, you just can't see it, so you smack it and stuff. How's this? Worse? Obviously more bent. Look at this. Oh, baby. Baby, baby. See how it's got a different pivot here? It's got 2 points of articulation instead of just the one Heim.
Yeah. Interesting.
Looks better, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Beefier?
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah.
This doesn't say Super ATV. Man, that's way bigger.
Yep.
Why don't you guys
She's
send them like this from the factory? So these are already HD axles. These ones are even beefier. I love that gray color.
Yeah.
I know how like pointless that is, but I don't know. There's just something about it that makes me think this axle is better because it has this beautiful gray powder coat on it. And that sticker, it's excellent. I mean, what's not to love? Can't wait to crash
those springs powder coated.
Yeah, I'm gonna powder coat the springs silver, and we'll do the roll cage silver too. I think that'll look nice. So guys, we got everything ready for the build tomorrow. We got all our parts laid out, real nice. We got our axles, our bushings, our rear radius rods, our spare belt, our front A-arms, the blow-off valve, the hanger bearing, everything. And we're going to rip off all these old components, or the OEM ones that have a year of use on them, but still all look quite good. And we're going to replace them with the nice beefy aftermarket ones that are super sexy and awesome. So stay tuned for all those. We're going to do install videos on all those components, and we're going to give you guys a long-term review of these components as we use them all season. You'll get to see them perform in the real world. You guys know how we ride. You guys know we like to push the limits. I mean, we're not the craziest guys out there, but we like to have fun. So we're going to put these to the test, and then that way you guys can see how these products function in the real world. So check out our supporters, Royal Distributing, at royaldistributing.com. If you're in Canada, it's your best spot for power sports supplies. They're Canada's leader in power sports. So definitely give them a follow on Facebook. Check them out on Instagram. And if you're local, check out one of their 4 store locations. I mean, this has been a year of, I mean, we didn't actually do as much riding this year as we did the previous season because of how things worked out. But it's got 1,500 hard miles on it, so you guys will know this is real world use. This is what you can expect to see when you own yours. There's been no real warranty or concerns in that sense. Nothing's broken, nothing's left me stranded. The suspension is out of this world, and it feels pretty much as good as it did the day I got it.
Yeah, it feels great. When we went from the 900 to this turbo,
we still constantly look at ourselves and be like, how did we do this in the 900?
Yeah.
Look at this. We got some scuff marks here. One thing about trail riding these Razor turbos is, I find sometimes if there's branches and stuff, this will turn into one of the contact spots, and you'll get like all the way to the machine on the reservoir. We've had that a couple times.
Or backing up.
Yeah, backing up, you might smack it. That's how I think I got this scuff.
Yeah.
So you see, sometimes people relocate these to a safer spot in the roll cage. I think that's a major reason.
I think when you push through the branches are like doing this, and then as you come out, they're brushing out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see like on the cage here, there's all these scuffs. The powder coating on the stock cages is awesome.
It's pretty impressive.
That hasn't worn off yet.
Rub against.
See, we got the crack on this side too.
Same one.
I'm considering going to maybe an aluminum roof in the future.
I like the plastic.
I like the plastic myself too. That's
I think they flex the best. You see the guys with the aluminum roofs, and they get hammered.
Yeah.
You just flex them back into shape.
So one thing I really want to mention here is probably one of my favorite modifications, and James's too, is these 6-point Click 6 harnesses from IMI. Look at these. 6 points.
Nip strap.
Harness in.
Done.
Ready to go.
And it's like, movement.
So the only issue we've had with these, and it's not a problem, it's something that is our fault. Once in a while, we'll ride this thing in the winter, and it'll get wet, and we'll leave it out because we don't want to flood the garage or something, because we're going to ride again tomorrow, and it's packed full of snow, and these harnesses will freeze up in there. But I mean, you can't really prevent that. Aside from that, we haven't had a single problem with them.
They've been great.
Whether they're muddy or wet or it's cold or it's hot, they always function. Even if they freeze up, we've managed to get them free within a minute or two, just like moving them and flexing the seatbelt around to soften it up, and it's worked. But they've been great.
Too, they're really amazing. So like when you're rapidly going, it's gonna lock.
Yep.
But
if you want to lean forward, Oh, my mic's still on.
I mean, you've gotten that.
Yeah, so okay, watch, I'll put that back.
Yeah.
This is how much movement you would get out of a regular harness.
Yeah, and you have to take off all essentially the whole harness.
And I mean, they come off quick. It's just this, and the one.
Yeah, real quick. And when you have gloves on, they're actually quite simple to put together. Even when we're out in the snow, they go on really nice. Because I've done it before. We've stopped and I've dropped my phone out the door before, like standing in or something, and just bent out and got them.
Yeah.
You never get that with the other 5 point.
They hang out the door sometimes.
All of them do.
That's I mean, you can't prevent that. That's more of like just kind of a design thing with the Razor. Yeah, everything's great. I would say that Polaris has definitely done their homework. They've done a great job with this machine in comparison to the old 1000s or the initial 1000 XP, and in comparison to the 900 XP, the longevity of the components, the size of the hardware, the size of the spindle assemblies and stuff like that, it's all grown with time, and it's all become a lot more heavy duty and a lot more resilient. I mean, there's no way in the past, I would have done all my ball joints, all my wheel bearings before I went to West Virginia. I would have come home, I would have had to do it again in the 900 XP, guaranteed. This thing, it feels, I mean, it's starting to develop a little bit of wear, as you guys will probably see when we take it apart and the components, but honestly, this thing's been great. I totally recommend it. It does great trail riding, it does great high speed, it's got the power to drift and go wherever you want it to. It never runs out of power on the hill climbs. It's awesome. The braking system is amazing. The on-road handling with a nice tire is great. There's nothing bad I can say about this thing. The cabin, it's comfortable. You know what? A lot of people might argue that it's a little bit dated now, but you know what? Generally speaking, all the other things are way more important to me than a slightly dated cabin. And I think the visibility out of this machine is superior to that of the X3. So the major question I get is always, what about the Maverick X3 Turbo versus the Polaris Razor XP Turbo? Which one's better? Neither of them are better. I've driven both of them. There's multiple machines of both in our group. I still prefer the Razor. I think it's a better all-around machine out of the box. I know some people are going to disagree with that, but it's all about preference and what you get used to. They're both awesome machines, whichever one you prefer. I still personally feel that the warranty service and the aftermarket is stronger for Polaris, but that's all really kind of changing right now. There's so many changes in the industry. There's so many new machines coming out. I mean, it all has a lot to do with where you ride, what you want, how you're going to ride it, what you expect out of it. So in general, I'd say I'm like 9 out of 10 satisfied with this thing, and I can't wait to build it now. I can't wait to put all the new goodies on it with Super ATV and Royal Distributing backing us up. And I hope you guys join us for the install videos and this build. It's going to be a really cool process, and the best part of it is going to be putting it all together and then taking it out on the trail and testing it and putting it through its paces for another season, seeing how all the aftermarket components do, and seeing if we can take it to new places we haven't gone before. So hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, both of them, Adrenaline Junkie Prod, this main channel, and Adrenaline Junkie Projects. The channel will be uploading most of the in-depth build videos to will be Adrenaline Junkie Projects, but we'll also give you some cool build stuff on the main channel. So stay tuned for the testing phases. They'll be coming next. Check out all the videos, give us a thumbs up, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you in the next video.